Smile, meet, chat, join for networking.
Hi everybody, my name is Chris Hodgkiss, and today I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey of my life. I left school in 1996 with no qualifications, not a hope in hell's chance of really getting any form of career because I didn't really leave school with any form of qualifications. I was bullied at school to the point where it was quite severe. I was thrown through corridors, I was thrown against urinals, I was punched, I was kicked, thrown around, everything you could ever care to imagine. Even right down to my very last day of school when I was happy and thinking I was going to be free of this place, I was still knocked around. I tried to talk to Mum and Dad about it, but they really didn't understand, and to be honest with you, the only other school they could put me in was somewhere where my brother would be, and me and my brother really didn't get on, so it would have just made matters worse. Whilst I was at school, I had a Saturday job, and this was the one thing that really made me happy in life. And my Saturday job was working in a small independent electrical business in my hometown of Kings Winford, where Mum and Dad still live. I absolutely loved that job because it was different to obviously going to school, and it gave me the opportunity to meet new people every week and give me the opportunity to help people in making decisions in purchases and what they wanted to buy. I was really hoping that this could turn into a full-time job, but sadly that wasn't possible. Whilst I was in this job, I was in two minds whether I was going to go to college or whether I'd go and find a full-time job. So I decided it would be a good idea to go to college and go and study what I thought would be the right thing for me to do, which at the time was engineering. I had it in my head that I wanted to go into the armed forces or even go into the Navy or the RAF or something similar. And as much as I tried and did my best to try and get into these jobs, I couldn't pass the test for toffee. I tried and tried. I tried on 2 or 3 occasions, but just kept on failing. So from there, I thought, well, I better carry on with retail. That's what I've been doing for so long. So I carried on in the retail game and managed to get myself a full-time job in a local shopping centre where I could gain an NVQ in retail and customer service. So I went from earning £20 on a Saturday to £75 a week, and yeah, I was quite pleased with that, And but this wasn't going to be my only job. I couldn't stay in a job for some reason or another. I either didn't suit the environment or they found some reason to just let me go. I probably had about 12 different jobs in all different types of varieties. Anything from mixing ice cream to melting butter on a conveyor belt, believe it or not, to working in an office as an office junior making cups of tea, to working in a customer service centre. So really had moved around quite a lot, really. One of my jobs was working for a disability products manufacturer called Sunrise Medical. And my job there involved taking phone calls from people, dealing with customer inquiries, chasing orders, all the usual stuff. And whilst I was there, I made good friends with a lady across the office called Andre. And Andre got to know me and realised that I was appalling at spelling and I was really in the wrong place if I was going to be replying to customer emails and bits and pieces. So quite often I'd be forwarding my emails across to Andre for her to check the spellings before they got sent out and whatever else, and checking punctuation and all these different things. But she was obviously really helpful and we created a good bond between us. And she came across to me the one day and she said, I've got this little job I need doing at home, it might just make a bit of extra cash, would you be interested? And I went and had a look, she said, I just want to build a rockery, and a few stones and bits and pieces in the garden. I thought, yeah, I can come and do that at the weekend, why not? So I went across there to have a look and see what was involved, and we had a cup of coffee and carried on going back to work, and we built up a really good friendship between us over several years, in fact, to the point where myself and Andre actually started a relationship. And that relationship went on for about 5 years before we got married, and Andre gave me the opportunity to do what I wanted. She said, what is it you really want out of your life? What do you really want to achieve? And I said, I remember being an underage drinker in the pub and seeing all these tradespeople with these wads and notes in their hands, these self-employed people, that's where I want to be. Little did I know that was going to be what it was really like. But anyway, she gave me the opportunity to do what I wanted to do. She put some money into a bank account and she said, go on, give it a go, see what you can do. I started doing bits and pieces alongside my full-time job to begin with, but I started making more money in my spare time than I was making full-time. I was earning 3-4 times my wages, so it was quite an improvement, wasn't it? I started putting adverts in some shop windows and started to get some traction that way. And it got to the point where people were actually ringing me during work time saying, "Can you come and have a look at our computer?" Obviously the boss got wind of me using my phone at work, and he wasn't best impressed about that, as you can probably imagine. And I said, "Oh, I'm just booking in my clients, you know, as you do." And he said, "Well, what do you mean clients?" I said, "Oh, I'm just doing some work on the side." And he sat with me and he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm doing computer repairs on the side, building PCs for people in the factory, this, that." And he says, "Well, what are you doing working for me then?" and I said, "Well, it's a job, it's my income, it's what pays for my running costs and bits and pieces at home." He says, "You silly Billy, just get off your ass and go and do it, you know." And I said, no, I'm happy, you know, I'm content, it's a bit of extra income for me. Go and do it. Okay. So eventually I plucked up the courage to go and give it a go on my own. But I didn't understand anything about business, and I'll never forget it, sitting at a Business Link training session where they started talking about profit margins and gross this and net that. I ain't got a clue what they're on about, really, to be honest with you. I thought, hey, look, it's easy enough, you buy something, you sell it, you make a profit on it. After 5 years of working really hard, I've got my business to around 500 customers locally, of people that were of a domestic nature, some small businesses, people that work from home, turned over about £120,000 a year, which sounds really quite good. So as much as the turnover was there was no real bottom line profit in the business, which unfortunately, you know, for me was what resulted in me having to close that business. It was a big learning curve. Believe it or not, my business was called The Lost Connection. So the writing was on the wall from day one, really, wasn't it? But then I go back and I think, TLC, the learning curve, yeah? So I then got to start to meet people in networking and whatever else through other networking groups, and I got to meet business mentors and people like that, and they just sat with me and said, "Oh, this is where you went wrong, this, that and the other. Give it another go." I don't know. It seems easier just to go and get a job. But I did. I gave it another go. I set up another business this time, learning what I did previously, and played the old 80-20 rule, and was able to go back to my old customers who were the most profitable people, and they decided to continue doing business with me, which was fantastic. And those people are still with me today, 8-9 years down the line, still doing business with me, which is fantastic. However, I have to be honest with you, that wasn't the only business I had. This is now my third attempt in business. So what I'm saying is, you know, just keep at it, keep persevering, even though sometimes we want to kick the towel in, or as they call it, throw the towel in. I kept on going regardless. I was faced with letters from my mortgage company saying, "When are you going to pay this? When are you going to pay the other?" So yeah, I still persevered all the way through it. If it wasn't for Andre's support, then I probably wouldn't be here today. I probably would be out there in the big wide world employed by somebody, but she really pushed me. In 2011, my whole life changed when I was in between work. I was either going to go self-employed or I was going to continue on the employed road. But I decided to go down the employed road because I felt as though it was safe. I felt as though it was the thing to do. And I went and did some work in the care trade to help people with learning disabilities get through their day and provide them all the personal care and bits and pieces they did. I always realised I've got a caring nature as a person, thought, yeah, this is where I want to be. In 2011, around about November time, October time, Andre passed away. And I was left in it with a house, with all of the bills and bits and pieces to pay. And to this day, I still don't know how I got through it, but I did. I got through it. And the only reason why I got through it was through the support of my networking contacts, the people I'd networked with all those years previously. And those are the people that reached out to me and helped me during those difficult times. It wasn't anything about business then. It was about the relationships that we'd built. I can remember Paul Lander, which some of you may know, coming round to my house and helping me out with Andre's share options and bits and pieces in the financial services sector, and explaining to me what I need to do with all the bits and pieces in terms of paperwork. He didn't want a penny for his time, it was just his way of trying to help me. But little did I know, behind all this, the mortgage still had to be paid. And I started to get letters through to say, you know, we haven't paid this month and whatever else. It's like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, got to do that as well, haven't I was getting no support from family because obviously they're suffering Andre's loss as well. So I literally just had to try and walk it on my own really and deal with it the best I could with what contacts I've made over the years I've been in business. Well, thankfully, you know, they all crept out the woodwork and they all helped me get through it. But there was one guy in particular that really did help me out. The very first person I ever met in a networking meeting in 2002, 2003 was a guy called Bill Croft. And to this day, Bill is an absolutely fantastic guy. And if you're watching this video, Bill, I really appreciate everything that you did for me that day. He came to me and he said, Chris, what is it I can help you with? What is it you need me to do? And I just came out and said, I need someone to pay the mortgage. You know, I'm stuffed. Why didn't you ask? And he paid the mortgage for me for a good 6-7 months, just to try and keep the house going and whatever else, because the estate agents weren't pulling their weight. I mean, they kind of just came in and just said, we can't sell the house. You're not going to sell this house for toffee. Look at the area that it's in. Look at the condition it's in, this, that, and the other. I said, no, we'll sell it. I don't care what it takes. This property will get sold. But because of their attitude, obviously, it wasn't going to get sold, was it? And I did try and take on other estate agents, and they all had much the same attitude. I thought, looks like I've got to do it myself. Put my sales hat back on, you know. I thought, well, how am I going to sell it? And I went around some of my networking meetings telling people I've got this house for sale, anybody interested? And all I got was these property investors trying to offer me a stupid amount of money for it. I thought, no, I can do one better. I'm going to put it on social media and put my house on Facebook and put my house on my LinkedIn profile. I put my house on Twitter, all these different places. And lo and behold, one of my very first few customers came out the woodwork and said, my daughter and son-in-law are looking for their first home. Would you let it go for this price? Yeah, have it. And sure enough, they bought it. I sold the house myself and felt very proud of what I'd done. So yeah, we're selling the house. I had to go back to Mum and Dad's, and I have to be honest with you, it wasn't exactly the most pleasant of times. I spent nearly a year there really. But it gave, one thing that Mum and Dad really made clear to me was, if you're going to go back into business, you ain't going to do it from here. We don't want people coming to the house, this, that and the other. I thought, well, I can't afford to go and set up offices and stuff like that. What can I do? And I hunted high and low just to find something that was really cheap and affordable. And one of my old contacts came to me and he said, well, don't you have a chat with this guy? He's got some offices at the back of his building. He might do something on the cheap for you. And sure enough, I managed to pick up this office for £125 a month. So obviously dirt cheap, but it would do the job just to get me started. So yeah, got the office and started again in business. And here I am, third time lucky, still going at it and still working really hard. I've since met somebody else. I've met a wonderful lady called Caroline, and we're getting married this year in November. So, in summary, don't give up. If you ever get that inkling where you think it'd be so much easier just to go and get a job, don't do it. Just keep at it, because you can do it.
Smile, be chat, join for networking.